BMW has fallen off is something you may have heard recently on social media. There are a few reasons for this, most obviously being their bold designs and the new M5, which is heavy to say the least. So has the car company, loved by so many enthusiasts, fallen out of favour with many in the car community, and how valid are these claims? I'll look into the last few years of BMW, as well as what is to come, and try to assess whether they've really gone majorly downhill. First of all, let's talk about BMW designs from the past few years. Their signature kidney grille has featured on the cars since 1933, and is the defining design feature that sets Beamers apart from other vehicles on the roads. They have become more controversial in recent years, however. Gradually, they have increased in size from the small ones that featured on cars like the E30 M3, whilst more recent models, up to about 4 years ago, had larger but still reasonably sized grilles. The sizing has gotten a bit extreme in recent years. The first example of this new design language came in the form of the F41 series, which arrived in 2019. With much larger kidney grilles and thinner headlights, it certainly has an aggressive look, particularly with the black trim on performance models. At the side it's quite flat, and depending on the angle and paint, it can appear that there are no curves or creases whatsoever. At the rear, it's also quite plain, with smaller tail lights. There's an overall lack of visual drama aside from a divisive front end. In lower trim levels, it looks far from premium when it comes to wheels and other trim elements. Possibly the most divisive design ever on a BMW came in the form of a new kidney grille on the M3, M4 and 4 series, which launched in 2020. It's a design that somehow made it out of the concept phase, although many wish it hadn't. The kidney grille is used vertically and dominates the entire front end. Again, there's thin headlights and the overall front end styling is aggressive for the M models. However, the regular 4 series ends up looking a bit odd with the use of chrome and a design that looks pretty generic everywhere other than the front. On the 4 series Grand Coupe, the door handles sit flush and there is a distinct lack of body lines. The i4 followed in 2021 with a very similar design, although due to it not needing a grille, the front is a little less offensive. The iX is another BMW that made it out of the concept phase despite a wild design, although in fairness to BMW, the production car looks much better than the concept, which was originally shown off in 2019. As it's electric, there's not actually a grille, but the vertical imitation dominates the front, just like on the i4. The headlights are extremely thin, so again it has a menacing appearance, but it's an unpopular one. At the side, there's flush handles and again an almost entirely flat design, while at the rear there are also extremely thin lights, although there are at least some body lines on show. Overall, it looks a bit ungainly, and despite being out for a while, I still haven't acclimatised fully to seeing the outrageous design. Speaking of outrageous designs, the 7 Series and i7 might be the most polarising cars of the lot. With a massive kidney grille at the front, it was already destined to be criticised for its looks, but its barely there LED daytime running lights with the headlights below makes it possibly the most bizarre looking car on the roads. Yet again, it's flat and squared off at the side, and tiny rear lights and boxy design at the back complete the quite frankly hideous design. It's hard to tell what BMW was thinking when it designed the 7 Series, but it's safe to say it hasn't gone down well. These cars all came out a short while ago, but the design of newer cars hasn't been much better. Fortunately, the 3 Series hasn't been completely butchered, although the new grille design is a step back in my opinion. But the new 5 Series and i5, 1 Series, XM, most of the X Series of SUVs have the same flared nostril front end. The grilles are surrounded by lights to accentuate the strange looks they possess. Most of the recently redesigned cars mentioned have next to nothing going on anywhere other than the front end, as BMW seems to be on a crusade to remove curves and body lines, replace them with a boxy design. If you're hoping it's going to get better, you're wrong. The concepts that are set to shape the next generation of BMWs are way worse. The iVision D, newer Classe and newer Classe X have designs that are about as minimal as can be, although feature horrific grilles, if you can even call them that, and odd rear designs. Design ran over for now, but there's been something else that sparked outrage within the car community. The new M5. The G90's design follows the rest of the BMW range at the moment, with the new grille, headlights made up of minuscule LED elements, and lack of curves. However, it's not the design that caused so much controversy, it's the weight. It was always going to rise, thanks to being a plug-in hybrid, and the constant push for more technology and safety features, but a curb weight of 2,510 kilograms is extreme. It was never going to be light, considering it's an executive saloon packed with luxurious features, but it weighs as much as some large vans and way more than rivals that you'd expect to be heavier, like the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. It's not far off the weight of the hybrid Mercedes-AMG S63, which is a luxurious limousine. This is outrageous, even in a world where cars are becoming heavier and heavier. In fairness to BMW, reviews of the M5 prototype have been generally positive, though the additional weight is said to take away some of the fun from the driving experience. And across the board, new models have been well received. Whilst not the most aesthetically pleasing, they're still said to be some of the best driving cars on the road. They possess an incredible amount of brand loyalty. So then, it's not too bad and seems like an overreaction, right? Well, I think there is genuine cause for concern if the company stays on this path. By continuing to put unpopular designs into production, it calls into question whether BMW are looking at their cars from a consumer perspective or not. It's not clear whether the looks of new BMWs is hurting sales or not, but potential M5 owners are likely to be somewhat put off by the new weight of it. Their concept cars don't fill many with much hope either. Obviously they're electric, which is already unpopular with petrol heads, but they also feature incredibly minimalistic interiors and eyesore appearances. There also seems to be a focus on developing technology as a means of promotion. There's a colour changing paint and a screen that runs the entire width of the dashboard are interesting and futuristic, but also seemingly futile and slightly gimmicky, rather than useful and in demand. It's an odd time for the Bavarian brand that seems to be going in a direction away from what is actually desired by buyers, and it's hard to see how their concepts will be popular. It's an odd time for the Bavarian brand that seems to be going in a direction away from what is actually desired by buyers, and it's hard to see how their concepts will be popular. For now, BMW is still a powerhouse in the automotive industry, loved by car enthusiasts worldwide. But this could change in the next few years as more and more companies look like they could dislodge the luxury brand. Kia and Hyundai are already knocking on the doors of the big German brands, and if BMW sticks to its vision, it may lose the brand loyalty that it has had for decades.